Hello, everybody. Many thanks for joining today for the presentation on impact on the future of supply chain management within the ISCEA Global Business Solutions community. Before I start, I like to present myself a little bit. So first, a small introduction. Impact on the future of the supply chain management. Before I introduce myself, I would like to thank the ISCEA Global Desk for the great support in getting the webinar promoted and running today. And special thanks to Lalit De Silva, who had the idea to have a presentation today. It's really a pleasure working with him, motivated by his kindness and passion for sharing and developing people. So it's really great. Thank you very much for joining. So, brief introduction of myself. So I have 20 years experience in the international supply chain management in the chemical industry, working in different roles along the entire chain, even as a head of supply chain management. And in my last role as a global manager, IBP, we developed the IBP process not from system, but from inside out mindset and collaboration point of view. Meaning first, what do we want to achieve? Why the process? What do we want to deliver? What do we want to decide? And what collaboration is needed and what data? And then later on, getting a system running accordingly. But we were in the impression that the mindset is the important part of the story first, and also the internal collaboration, and then having a system who reflects our process and needs, and not vice versa. So, with reference to the presentation today, the future of supply chain management, I'd like to have some thought-provoking statements here. I don't mind if you like it or not, or agree or disagree. I'm happy to continue communication with you in both directions afterwards further. Either we dig in deep in detail then and create some innovative ideas or solutions together, or starting a project or having a challenging discussion with insights and learning also for myself as well, if there's anything that I have overseen or you think that I am wrong. So any discussion feedback is welcome. So we will walk through a general statement of the future of supply chain management, how I see it, the actual situation, then opportunities of a crisis, new ways of collaboration, and what is sustainable transformation through education. So directly going into the general overview for the presentation today. Traditionally, supply chain management is the roadblock at the majority of companies. There's only a few company leaders who see it differently, but in general, if you ask a supply chain manager or supply chain managers, they feel like being kept between hammer and anvil. And leading companies, there it is different. Because they have understood that it's not company against company, but supply chain against supply chain. So supply chain provides competitive advantages, like in the fast-moving consumer goods market, where logistics is quite far developed, or just in time in the automotive industry. So there are certain concepts with leading companies available. And also those companies have started to push transformation in digitization. Creating big innovation centers and to foster this and then push further, and also ensuring training of their staff. And to underpin that, I will come to some examples later on. So, but looking into the current situation of COVID-19, those companies who are investing in supply chain more strongly in the past, they are more resilient and had no problems or less than others at the moment. And even in the mass media, this was referred to, and also the term supply chain management or supply chain has become popular. Beforehand, I was forced to explain to the people what I'm doing. What's a supply chain manager? A lot of persons didn't have a clue about that if you're not in the business. And this has also been changed, and I really believe that this will become a game changer in the future, all companies will have to have a stronger focus on well-established supply chain and the supply chain management function in order to be more resilient and competitive and also manage any crisis. So let's say it in a way, COVID-19 is a kind of proof of concept here. And the main pillars of this will be availability and use of technology and systems for sure. Digitization has now arrived everywhere, and along with that, you need great processes and also good organization. A disciplined process and a good organization will deliver better results towards the business. But also for managing all this, you need well-trained staff, which is educated and steers the supply chain orchestrated. And for sure, I think, and that's one of my major statements today, also going along with the ISCEA as such, a key towards sustainable success, I really believe in well-trained people, talents, but also true cross-functional and cross-company collaboration. And this I would love to show through the presentation and coming back to this at the end. So, nevertheless, looking into the actual situation with COVID-19, it's dark times, people dying around the world. There's no doubt about that, and I'm the last who wants to ignore that or ignoring that. And I'm not talking about this is not right, but I will not provide any statistics and things. Everybody from us is getting news every day. However, I'm having a big family too, and fortunately we are all in good health, but we kept also to the rules given by government with discipline, and that is what I think is also a key element of successful supply chains: discipline and processes with clear roles and responsibility and sticking to it. But today, I don't want to dig in deeper in COVID-19, the negative aspects, but I believe there's also an optimistic side and a positive aspect of the coin. So it's like having the glass half full instead of half emptied. So opportunities of a crisis as a German, to understand this kind of mindset of mine, as a German looking back into the history, after World War II, the industry was down, machines were taken away by the winners, even woods were taken, we had to pay for the war we invented, and nothing was left. Made in Germany was supposed to be a negative branding as well. Originally, it was invented in the end of the 19th century by the British government to protect against German copies of their products in bad quality. But a man called Marshall had a great plan after the World War II, and in the end, made in Western Germany became the proof of quality mark. And I think that's just also a point. Big crisis maybe, but there's always something in, if you have the right mindset. So this brings us to the actual situation at home or in business. Before COVID-19, I was working just with Skype for business without video camera, and today we are via GoTo together here, and with other people I call with WhatsApp. There's Microsoft Teams, famous now, some companies are using them, and if you have interactions, you also need to log in on the web, and Google Duo via mobile phone, or Google Meet now is coming up, because or FaceTime, because there's one also challenging all the market, Zoom, who's moving the masses at the moment. Everybody's able to use Zoom. So this has been arrived now with every one of us, with every person. Remote work, the management is happy that it is possible. Beforehand, I oftentimes have heard statements like, oh, who's not in the office is not working, when a single lady who has kids at school were forced to work from home because to manage her life. And I think this has changed. Now they're all lucky that this is available. And the point is that everybody is now forced to manage all of these things. So digitization arrived at home, and even with the family, we have clouds available with the school. We call it homeschooling. So this is a new normal that we have to manage different systems, not just focused on one, but people become flexible and see the potential over there. And I think this is a big lever for the next step in business. Just to reflect that. Looking into the business, this is the traditional aggregated standard process of a supply chain. We all know. So source, make, deliver, purchase to pay, plan to produce, order to deliver. So the traditional supply chain in project management, we refer to SIPOC. This is in Lean and Six Sigma, scoping of projects, supplier, input, production, output, customer. And projects tendency so far is more on internal scope, maybe a little bit broader in the input and the output part, and larger companies for sure also have projects to connect and integrate with customers and suppliers, especially big global companies. But the more global, the larger the company is, the more suppliers you have, countless numbers, and also a hell of a lot of customers, even small ones who are oftentimes delivered by distributors, and hence not all suppliers and not all customers are integrated, but it is an advanced picture compared to small and medium companies who are not that advanced in this. So, however, this is a misleading approach to look into what I'm doing. And what we see here also is a customer-supplier relationship on both ends. So if I source something, I'm the customer of a supplier. If I ship something, I'm a supplier of a customer. And therefore, I want to simplify the value chain for the next steps, just to get a better idea where we are going. And the entire value chain is exactly looking like this further. It's always supply chain, supplier customer relationships, and within the supply chain we have different sizes of companies. Some of them might be doing integration as well, leading companies, and some are minor, or some are just forced to do so because they are a small company providing a big one, or vice versa. So, and looking into the digital transformation, those big companies, they are doing also the next steps in use of AI, machine learning. Big data is standing here for all the other things like IoT and whatsoever is possible there. There's a hell of a lot of things. I don't want to go through all these buzzwords like blockchain, etc. It's just about that the focus is there. Those companies are driving this. And to underpin this, there was a recent Forbes article. So it's not just a belief of myself, but recently in Forbes, there was an article about a survey done by Oxford Economics, where they were really checking upon supply chain executives, and the top 20 of the respondents ranked also using automation to perform routine tasks as a top strategic goal across supply chain, and not just as business. And that is, I think, an important point. And all these are quotes from that article, and here it becomes very clear the difference between leading companies and other respondents. 76% deploying IoT in some areas, not all. 46 leveraging big data, and here we're talking about 15%, or robotics versus 14%. So this is really a huge gap, and it confirms what I said in the beginning. So, but what does it mean now with COVID-19 and the opportunities, the changes? So let's have a look into an simplified example in the automotive. Sorry, let's go back first to that slide. What does it mean if we now push further. So everybody has detected, people at home now managing all these kind of systems, the awareness is there. And now if everybody starts doing some projects, also the small and minor companies, I think we have a lot of fragmented approaches along the value chain. So everybody's doing their own thing. And the question is, what better can I do? How can I better serve my customer? Is this the right question, or wouldn't it be better to look into the entire value chain and think about what can we do along the entire chain, what we all can do to become better and to serve the customer in the end. And think that is exactly what I now wanted to show at a simple example in the automotive market. Very simplified, but I think to make it tangible. So if you order a car, you have to wait 6 to 12 weeks if you configure it by your own. The OEM provides this. 6 to 12 weeks is quite long if the car is not standing ready because it's just standard somewhere in a port around the world. So you might need 3 weeks then, but 6 to 12 weeks is very big variance because of the disconnect in the supply chain, which we have seen in a simplified point or in the value chain. So how does it work? OEM 1 gets the code for the red car you want to buy from Coty 2 and the red bumper along with the adhesives and sealants also from bumper 2, and they provide to them a forecast of 6 to 12 weeks, and delivery is just in time, as we know from the automotive market. So the same is valid with the OEM 2, 6 to 12 weeks forecast, just in time delivery with bumper 1 and Coty 1. So now we have specialty chemicals in all of these kind of products. You need to have a code getting ready with additives and different functional chemicals, and this might even need a little bit longer. So we have the first difference between the two, which also comes down to stock holding points somewhere in the chain if you want to be able to deliver just in time. And then it's the question, who is holding the stock where? But 4 to 20 weeks, because we need to purchase raw material, and the company here gets the information, a forecast from Coty more or less as soon as they get it. So around the corner, and they are a key element. They have to provide simple or similar elements for the adhesives and resealants for the bumper 1 or the bumper 2. So that is a longer chain now. But if we look in the color parts of the codes, then we might even need longer, 3 to 6 months, for example, purchasing European manufacturing, or in the US, purchasing material in Asia, 90 to 120 days delivery time, then production takes a while, you need to meet the specification, going through different plants. Chemicals are not that easy as many people would believe. And so another point of stock holding in here, and the question is this calculated in the 6 to 12 weeks in the OEM without knowing it, because the entire chain might be not that resilient and reliable. Because if you don't know what's happening here, then you do something here, but if you get it 2 months in advance, then you need to air freight and have partial shipments, and operations hectic, which is inefficient, costly, CO2 footprint goes up. And I think that's the actual situation if we look into this kind of chain. Now the big ones, we said, the leading companies, they start investing in cloud technology for sure. More are doing it. More and more is coming up. And also the big ones are going into the digitization, which we have seen in Forbes as well as on the previous slide. So that is there at some corners, but it doesn't help if you do it if the rest is not working in this direction. So there's a big disconnect, but they're in the end all interlinked, because this is the value chain. There might be coming up now more clouds. Like we have seen, the other companies now have identified, oh, it's becoming cloudy. We need to do something to be connected, and therefore they will invest in these kind of technologies for sure as well. And if we say, okay, everybody wants to go his own way in digitization, then it becomes a mess in a certain way. Everybody's doing anything, but the question is it connected, or is it maybe running in the opposite side? And it's not relevant if we're now talking about a certain magic quadrant. The people, a specific system, that's not what I'm referring to. It's just about what is my intent accordingly. And this is looking very chaotic in the end, and the result might be not being improved. Everybody's doing this, and then the result is, oh, nothing changed like before, even worse. The data is there, but the business is not performing. So let's clean the table and see what is the new way of collaboration, I think, that can be achieved here. Everything connecting. For sure, clouds are there, and put some clouds outside, because what's coming up at the moment also is the edge technology. So we have edge clouds available. And if we now look into the thing again, you want to have a car. This can be also consumed in internal clouds with the blockchains. So we have maybe a car market for red cars in Europe, which is then transferred to a blockchain, and this information can be shared with every other with the right algorithm, even into this direction here, into the chemical market. Data is available. Why not sharing along the entire value chain? If you have the right algorithms, then we have here maybe a European market for bumpers. Even if there's a direct stream to OM1 to bumper 1 or bumper 2, you also can consolidate and aggregate those data in the blockchain, making use of that. And as we know, aggregated planning in a longer horizon is more accurate than disaggregated planning. And that is exactly the point, and one of the advantages here. With the right algorithm, you can maybe manage more, and you do not need exactly know the car model. If it is just about the red color, the direct links to the companies will be still there. But I think there's more potential to see some prescriptive triggers to calculate, oh, if this happens, what can be done? So it's a question of the right algorithm. The same is valid here. We have then maybe a coatings market for red colors in Europe, with the development in aggregate planning coming from the blockchain, where you get early an impression permanently. Maybe the question is how good these things are linked. And last but not least, the chemical industry as well along the value chain. Beforehand, there was no connection, and if we connect these kind of things, they get the information on time. Don't need to wait if somebody, purchasing manager, has met the sales manager and blah blah blah. I think that is something directly linked, will be an advantage in the next step, with, like I mentioned, with the right set of algorithm. Even if you have different systems, the cloud allows us to connect everything. Independent what kind of provider and systems you have, you can connect all those dots with everyone. That is the opportunity of clouds. So, and that's what I mean. You can invest, and everybody will invest in their future of digitization. However, it will be more orchestrated. If the things are linked right, then you can give a payback here. Now looking into maybe the special chemical market, we get the information for the red bumpers. This means those guys need the adhesives and sealants, the specialty chemicals, and those guys need the components, the function chemicals, so this goes back here and vice versa. So these connections are also there, but based on this information. So we have an information chain, and as we know, systems can exchange every minute, overnight, whatsoever. So those data can be real life, available on time, every day. So we have a chemical market for it, automotives, including all the specialty here, and edge. Gaia X is one of the systems or the edge cloud concepts Germany would like to go for. It's a decision taking there, so that even small and medium-sized companies get an access to edge and can use all these kind of things. We need an infrastructure here. So what is the result in the end of the day if we orchestrate this? For sure, if the demand is coming, the companies here can deliver on time, in full, as soon as they get the order. That means less stock holding points, more efficient transportation and manufacturing. Oops. And along the chain, delivery to the OEM on time, in full, in the right quality, because every still stand on an OEM assembly area costs thousands of euro a minute. Everybody knows that. So more efficient inventory. The quotas are on-site off times with the OEM. However, if the chain works like that, they already know, they have manufactured, they can deliver, and in the end, it might bring less waiting time for the customer. You can configure your car and you get it maybe back in 3 weeks with an efficient supply chain along the entire value chain orchestrated. So everybody in this chain benefits from that. Nobody needs to carry on unnecessary inventory. Nobody needs to air freight. For sure, there might be exceptions, yes. However, that is the opportunity what is in if you really look into a different way of collaboration together. So looking into these potential benefits again, the improved planning quality and accuracy along the entire chain will bring improved decision taking, because you have data on time, much more earlier, much more reliable with the right algorithms. You can steer the business. The capacity utilization in manufacturing and transportation and warehousing will improve, which will reduce costs, and also the CO2 footprint will go down. No air freights, maybe food container, food truckloads, etc. The lead time will reduce, and for sure the entire chain might be higher reliable, and the customer will be more happy. If you get your car much earlier, that is something. And this is also valid for a lot of other topics and chains. And just to provide a different example, if you think about that, what can be used also for you as a person. If you are a patient and this is a doctor and you observed cancer, you don't want the doctor to tell you, oh, I have experience over 30 years. I know what you have and I know how we can treat that. No, with that potential here, he can check the entire system and check out if it is available around the world. He gets the information from everywhere. He should be able to manage these kind of things and then find out what is the right therapy for you and then take the decision. But the decision taking is with the people, with us, and that's in the business as well as in private. But you can unleash the potential of this in every corner. However, it requires a lot of things. We need to manufacture the hardware, all these big servers of the blockchain and the clouds, the programming of the software. The manufacturing of the hardware, Microsoft Azure has already acquired huge land in the east coast of the US, which will be a cloud farm, a big city just for servers, but somebody needs to manufacture these things as well, and you need people for the manufacturing. Even if it is industry 4.0, somebody needs also to overview the manufacturing process there. Somebody needs to program the software. The system and technology must be available. However, you need expertise in the business process and the supply chain design. You need to communicate with other companies. You need to know what is the result, what is the need, what is the best solution, how does the process works manually, and what is the target. So we need really know-how here, and in the end, skilled labor and along the chain, and not laying off people now. It's company leaders already have understood that this is the wrong way. If you really want to revolutionize and then change the game, then you need skilled labor, and that is something of a little bit thought-provoking maybe for some of you. I think it's an artificial war of talent, what we are talking about or hearing about, that there will be shortcoming of talents, because the majority of companies are looking only on this level. In the big companies, there's an employee engagement survey, and the high motivated, high potentials and talents, that's where we are focused on, or many companies are focused on. However, maybe it's also with the development potential, but the third class, those who are more or less motivated, that group also makes the wheel go round. They are the clockwork of company, and if we really want to change the game, we need to take all, and for sure the last class, that is maybe some who are laying off, but focusing on talents for digital transformation is the wrong thing. And fortunately, one leading company out of the chemical industry market just has released some good news there, exactly reflecting what I'm saying. It is BASF. 2 weeks ago, BASF has announced a new contract for the site in Ludwigshafen, affected people 34,000. The previous contract was supposed to be ending by end of the year, but they preponed that, and under the motto, live the new BASF together, and they want to invest 1.5 billion every year until 25 into the site. And a clear statement is that that they preponed that to give a signal to the entire population of employees, and also for the region, what their intent is, really to test new digital technology, and that they need their employees key to success, like I said in the beginning. So that is exactly one of the differences of a company like BASF compared to others. When I was working for ISCEA Textiles long time ago in 2002, BASF was a 30% shareholder. In 2002, we got newsletters from BASF, and BASF HR were talking about 2015 and how to train and educate their staff, because 50% is meant to be older than 50 years in 2015. So 13 years upfront, they were also already thinking about these things. So that makes the difference. That is why they are continuously leading company. And in this statement, they have a lot of topics what they want to cover. And coming back to my presentation here, the expansion of digitalization in production, administration, business processes is one element why they now said this is what they want to do and they want to invest. And continuous optimization and structures and processes, like I said, organization towards a more agile organization. More agile is the question. People being remote, and agile is a little bit philosophic, but you see, it is not just that I'm dreaming of these ideas and that there's companies leaders out there. They confirm just what I've said. So if we come back to my statement in the beginning, I said exactly this. Main pillars: technology and system, process and organization, and well-trained, educated staff. Through cross-functional collaboration, this will be the keys towards sustainable success. So that's exactly what I was trying to refer to. And that is also one of the key elements, I think, from ISCEA. Train and get people done with know-how along the entire supply chain. And that's exactly why I joined ISCEA. I will also deliver a CSCA session in June soon, And this is basics for everyone, not need to work in the supply chain, but we need to start somewhere to share know-how, to get people understand the business processes along the chain, through collaboration, starting internally, like we did it with the IBP process in my company. We started with the people first, with the alignment, getting them together, taking decision. But I think one key element is to understand, to come on the same platform and then give them the signal to develop. And here are my contact details if you want to reach out to me after the presentation, but I tried to manage to finish earlier to allow a little bit more discussion. And if there's anybody who's having a question, so you can type this in the chat box and the global desk will forward to me, and we can now start exchanging a little bit about this. If you have any statements, thought-provoking, whatsoever, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer.